Hello, my name is Alberto, and reporting from the U.S. Looks like World War III has begun. From the looks of it, Putin is attacking all points of. He's attacking the main cities, Kyiv and Kharkiv, and there's been bombing in several other places. I guess they initially underestimated that they would only attack from the east, but it looks like they're attacking from all points and trying to take the entire. They're trying to take all Ukraine, pretty much. And there's been bombings all throughout the night, and they also say that there's been casualties from Ukrainians. Many have died. And then Russians also have been reported dead. I think some of their airplanes have been shot down, and other soldiers have been killed. So there's been casualties on both sides. And yeah, it looks like it's only going to escalate because Putin is saying that it's all due to NATO, and this is all because of NATO. So he's essentially, putting all the blame on people that had nothing to do with it. But he's making it seem like, he could have just attacked the eastern part, which is where the separatists are. But he chose to attack all the key points because he wants the whole state. And obviously this is not going to end well with, there's going to be surely an all-out war, and people are going to start taking sides. I think there's a big Indian population, and they've already, some of them, they've already talked to the ministers there, and so there's talks going on, and, nobody expected this. They expected Putin to only attack from the east, but they did not expect him to attack from all points. So it's sort of an unexpected attack, but I guess this sort of kind of plays into like end times prophecy as well, in terms of the strategic, how the godless will try to take over, and it even says that many will be beheaded for the witness of Jesus. And so if a regime like a communist regime were to take over, then that would surely happen, because the communists also back the Muslims, and the Muslims hate America and the West. And so, there's essentially, we've entered into a point of no return, where this is sort of World War III, and now nukes are involved. So it's a whole new element in this new age of war. And Kiev still looks sort of peaceful. It's a live shot of Kiev, but they say that on the outskirts they're fighting, and there's a lot of bombing going on. And also wanted to show this. There's this article that's sort of updating as we go, and so there's already been some bombing of an airport, and I believe the second largest city near which is Kharkiv, Ukraine. And then it also goes into how Putin he's seeking to really take over. And I think the sad thing about it is they sort of, they not sort of, but they underestimated the NATO underestimated and failed to to help. So now there's going to be a lot of fleeing refugees. There's people trying to leave the country. And yeah, right now it's chaotic. There's military in the streets, and it's just pure chaos right now. And yeah, there's a video here of somebody recording in Kharkiv, where the Russians are coming in on the outskirts of the second largest city, which is Kharkiv. And then, yeah, it also talks about how unprepared Ukraine is, even with the help of the West. They are very unprepared. Just look at the tanks. These are what look like World War II tanks, or maybe Vietnam tanks, but still, they just don't look very well maintained, and they look very just, yeah, not prepared at all. They don't even have helmets or anything. And obviously Russia has, they've also attacked from sea. So they're attacking not only from the ground, but also from the air and sea. And here they are moving in. They're entering Ukraine. And then you see some Indians within this crowd. They're waiting at the market, because obviously there's going to be, if they're going to shelter in place, this thing is going to go off. And obviously Putin has said he's not going to attack citizens, but obviously there's going to be citizens that are going to take arms and fight against the Russians. And this is sort of the fault of, also not, like I said before, it's the fault of the entire West for not preparing and defending their ally. It just didn't take Putin very seriously, since he's threatened and said things in the past. But I mean, this time they said he would attack. They had foreknowledge and that he was gathering troops. So I think that should have been a red flag to deploy troops. But now they're going to lose their sovereignty, and they're going to be part of Russia, or what was the Soviet Union before. Yeah, this is sort of taking a turn for the worst, obviously, and with this, it's going to cause our inflation to go up, and gas prices in the West. And they said that they're working on minimum impacts, but obviously that's hard to predict. There's going to be a lot of volatility in the market, but I guess the thing we should be more prepared for is eternity, because at any moment, a leader, if we invade or attack Russia, he's already said there's going to be severe consequences. He's not backing down from anything. So essentially a full-blown world war. And then China's already backing Russia, and obviously North Korea and every other communist regime. And then all the Muslims too, or a lot of the Muslims. I mean, Syria supports Russia, and Russia supported them in the past. And so the battle lines are being drawn. And yeah, just like World War II, this is now, we've entered World War III, because Putin has decided that he's going to take matters into his own hands and destroy anybody that gets in his path. And there's been prophecy about this as well, in terms of like the U.S. Being nuked by either Russian forces or China. And a lot of people have talked about it in the past. But I think this has become like a sobering thing now, where it's, taking place. And just like World War II, after the war was won, whoever won always decides the terms. And if communism wins, then they decide the terms of what we do, right? In terms of like worship, and we've already seen what China does to their citizens, and obviously North Korea, Muslims. They restrict Christians and their movement. So yeah, it's getting really, really intense. But of course, in Christ, we have security, eternal security, even though he said, don't fear men who can take your life, but fear him who can cast your soul and body into hell. Yeah, that's the one you should fear. You shouldn't fear man. So thank you for listening. Subscribe, hit the bell icon, like the video, share it. And obviously, you can look at some of the, the news on it. Yeah, so they've been bombing all the a lot of major cities, and people obviously are scared, taking shelter. There's another map of some of the places that were hit. And then here, the world is saying, or those on the side of NATO are saying, that it's unprovoked and unjustified. Yeah, and he's only said that he's going to denazification, which means he's just going after the, sort of like he did in Crimea, where he went in. But I mean, in Crimea it was different, where they didn't really, they just kind of gave up, because a lot of them already supported him. But here, there's not going to be that, because there's a lot of people that don't support him. So that's it. Okay.